Surely by now the battle had taken place, and all that remained was to wait to hear whether they should rejoice in their victory or brace for a war that would tear the 7 satrapies apart. Thus the Whites' prayers, Gavin supposed. Can you pray about the outcome of an event after the fact? Do they do anything then? Do they do anything ever? The White waited silently, staring at the bay, staring at nothing. Gavin was afraid. Had they interrupted her too late? But the White trusted them. She asked nothing, simply waited as the minutes stretched out. And then, finally, a shape came around the bend of Big Jasper. At first it was hard to get a sense of the size of the thing. It surfaced 100 paces from the high walls ringing the entirety of Big Jasper, which were lined with people jostling one another to see. The sea demon was visible at first only by the wake it left, ploughing waters to the left and the right. As the sea demon came closer, it sped up. Its cruciform mouth, half open, swallowing the seas with its ring-shaped maw and jetting them out through its gills along the whole of its body, now opened full. With each big, gulping pulse, its mouth opening wide now, water splashed out to the sides and back in great fans every 50 or so paces. Then, as the massive muscles contracted, the water behind it hissed with churned air and water. The sea demon was approaching the sea wall that protected West Bay. One galley was making a run for a gap in the sea wall, trying to get out. With how fast the sea demon moved, the captain couldn't have known it was precisely the wrong direction to go. "The poor fool," Guile muttered. "Depends on if this is a coincidence or an attack," the White said, eerily calm. "If it gets inside the sea wall, they might be the only ones to escape." The galley slaves lifted their oars out of the water as one, trying to make as little disturbance on the seas as possible. Sea demons were territorial, but not predators. The sea demon passed the galley and kept going. Gavin Guile expelled a relieved breath and heard the others do the same. But then the sea demon dove, disappearing in a sudden cloud of mist. When it reappeared, it was red hot. The waters were boiling around it. It veered out to sea. There was nothing they could do. The sea demon went out to sea, then it doubled back, accelerating. It aimed directly at the prow of the galley, as if it wanted the head-to-head collision with this challenger. Someone swore under their breath. The sea demon rammed the galley with tremendous speed. Several sailors flew off the deck, some into the sea, one flying until he crunched against the sea demon's knobby, spiky head. For an instant it looked like the ship would somehow hold together, and then the prow crumpled. Wood exploded in shards to every side. The masts snapped. The entire galley, the half of it that was left, was pushed backward, 10 paces, 20, 30, slapping huge fans of spray into the air. The sea demon's forward progress was only briefly slowed. Then the galley was pushed down into the waves as that great hammerhead rose even higher out of the water and kept pushing. Abruptly, the ship's fire-hardened wood hull shattered like a clay pot thrown against a wall. The sea demon dove and attached to that great spiky head by 100 lines. The wreckage was dragged down with it. 100 paces away, a huge bubble of air surfaced as the last of the decks gave way underwater. But the ship never rose. Flotsam was all that remained, and not nearly as much of that as one would expect. The ship was simply gone. Perhaps half a dozen men out of a crew of hundreds were flailing in the waves. Most of them couldn't swim. Gavin Guile had learned to swim as part of his blackguard training, and that most sailors couldn't had always struck him as insanity. "There," Guile said, pointing. "You can see the trail of bubbles." The sea demon hadn't gotten trapped inside the sea wall, thank Orholam, but what it seemed to be heading for was worse. "Hi, mistress," a voice broke in behind them. It was Lux Lord Carver Black, the man responsible for all the mundane details of running the Chromeria that didn't fall under the White's purview. He was a tall, balding man in Elysian hose and doublet with olive skin. What remained of his long dark hair was streaked liberally with white. Gavin hadn't noticed him. A blackguard, and he hadn't noticed. "Your pardon, I knocked, but got no response."